Genesis chapter 19. The two angels came to Sodom that evening. When Lot was sitting at the gate of Sodom, Lot saw them, got up to greet them, and prostrated himself on the ground. He said, "Here now, my lords, please come over to your servant's house. Spend the night, wash your feet, get up early and go on your way." "No," they answered, "we'll stay in the square." But he kept pressing them, so they went home with him, and he made them a meal, baking matzah, unleavened bread, for their supper, which they ate. But before they could go to bed, the men of the city surrounded the house, young and old, everyone from every neighborhood of Sodom. They called Lot and said to him, "Where are the men who came to stay with you tonight? Bring them out to us. We want to have sex with them." Lot went out to them and stood in the doorway, closing the door behind him, and said, "Please, my brothers, don't do such a wicked thing. Look here, I have 2 daughters who are virgins. Please, let me bring them out to you, and you can do with them what seems good to you. But don't do anything to these men, since they are guests in my house." "Stand back," they replied. "This guy came to live here, and now he's decided to play judge. For that will deal worse with you than with them." Then they crowded in on Lot in order to get close enough to break down the door. But the men inside reached out their hands, brought Lot into the house to them, and shut the door. Then they struck the men at the door of the house with blindness, both small and great, so that they couldn't find the doorway. The men said to Lot, "Do you have any people here besides yourself? Whomever you have in the city, son-in-law, your daughters, your sons, your daughters, bring them out of this place, because we are going to destroy it. Adonai has become aware of the great outcry against them, and Adonai has sent us to destroy it." Lot went out and spoke with his sons-in-laws, who had married his daughters, and said, "Get up and leave this place, because Adonai is going to destroy the city." But his sons-in-law didn't take him seriously. When morning came, the angels told Lot to hurry. "Get up," they said, "and take your wife and your 2 daughters who are here. Otherwise you will be swept away in the punishment of the city." But he dallied, so the men took hold of his hand, his wife's hand, and the hands of his 2 daughters. Adonai was being merciful to him, and led them, leaving them outside the city. When they had brought them out, he said, "Flee for your life. Don't look behind you, and don't stop anywhere in the plain, but escape to the hills. Otherwise you will be swept away." Lot said to them, "Please know, my lord, your servant has already found favor in your life, and you have shown me even greater mercy by saving my life. But I can't escape to the hills, because I'm afraid the disaster will overtake me and I will die. Look, there's a town nearby to flee to, and it's a small one. Please let me escape there. Isn't it just a small one? And that way I will stay alive." He replied, "All right, I agree to what you have asked. I won't overthrow the city of which you have spoken. Hurry and escape to that place, because I can't do anything until you arrive there." For this reason the city was named Zoar, small. By the time Lot had come to Zoar, the sun had risen over the land. Then Adonai caused sulfur and fire to rain down upon Sodom and Gomorrah from Adonai out of the sky. He overthrew those cities, the entire plain, all the inhabitants of the cities, and everything growing in the ground. But his wife looked back from behind him, and she became a column of salt. Abraham got up early in the morning and went to the place where he had stood before Adonai, and looked out toward Sodom and Gomorrah, scanning the entire plain. There before him the smoke was rising from the land like smoke from a furnace. But when God destroyed the cities of the plain, he remembered Abraham and sent Lot out, away from the destruction, when he overthrew the cities in which Lot lived. Lot went on from Zoar and lived in the hills with his 2 daughters, because he was afraid to stay in Zoar. He and his 2 daughters lived in a cave. The firstborn said to the younger, "Our father is old, and there isn't a man on earth to come into us in the manner customary in the world. Come, let's have our father drink wine, and we'll sleep with him. And that way will enable our father to have descendants." So they plied their father with wine that night, and the older went in and slept with her father. He didn't know when she lay down or when she got up. The following day the older said to the younger, "Here, I slept last night with my father. Let's make him drink wine again tonight, and you go in and sleep with him. And that way will enable our father to have descendants." They plied their father with wine that night also, and the younger one got up and slept with him, and he didn't know when she lay down or when she got up. Thus both the daughters of Lot became pregnant by their father. The older one gave birth to a son and called him Moab. He is the ancestor of Moab to this day. The younger also gave birth to a son, and she called him Ben-Ami. He is the ancestor of the people of Ammon to this day. End of Genesis, Bereshit, chapter 19.